I want to talk about something that I think a lot of people are living with quietly, and I don't think it actually gets talked about honestly enough. And that's the lonely side of retirement. Now, before I go any further, I want to be clear. I am not lonely in the way some people imagine loneliness. I'm busy, I have work I love, I have people in my life, and I have genuinely come to love the area I've moved to. But I also live alone. I'm 7 months into a brand new place, and I've moved away from a community I've been part of for over 40 years. And when I'm honest with myself, I know that that social side of my life, it just doesn't look the way that it used to. And I know that for a lot of people in retirement, especially women, especially women living alone, this is a reality that sits right there in the background and never quite gets named. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Leslie. I'm newly retired, and since then, I've been sharing this journey uh, as honestly as I can, the good parts and the hard parts. And this, I think, is one of the most important videos I've made. When people talk about retirement planning, they talk about pensions, savings, when to stop working, what to do with your time. Very few people talk about what happens to your social life. And for me, retirement didn't arrive the way I imagined it. It arrived after a series of events I can only describe as earthquakes. Losing my husband, making the decision out of a necessity to leave the home and the area we had shared for 40 years, and moving to somewhere completely new. And that was my decision to do that for a number of reasons, which I'll share in another video. And then, in the middle of all that, losing my dad too. I want to mention that without going into all the detail, because I think anyone who has been through something similar will understand exactly what that feels like. What I will say is this: when you leave a community you've been part of for 40 years, you don't just leave a house. You have the coffee shop where they know your name, the neighbors who watched your children grow up, the friends you built over decades, the hairdresser, the routes you've walked 1,000 times. It's the invisible fabric of life that we take for granted until it's no longer there. But you can't pack it into boxes, and nobody warns you that it goes. The other thing is, women of my generation, we were brought up to hold it together. And I don't mean that as a complaint. It's just the truth of how most of us were raised. You don't show weakness, you get on with it. That stiff upper British lip stuff. You keep going because other people are depending on you. And that's what I did. I held it together. I focused on the move. I made plans and lists and decisions. And I gave myself a target: get to the new house, get settled, get through the next thing. And somewhere in the middle of that, when I lost my dad, I found grief coming back for a second time. I realized I was carrying more than I was letting on, even to myself. But I made a conscious decision. I was going to focus on the move because that was survival. It was the one thing I could control. And only a handful of people, and I mean truly a handful of people, understood what it actually took to get through all that. When you spend years accommodating the wishes of everyone else, then you step back for your own self survival and well being. You suddenly become that difficult person. And I'm not telling this story for sympathy. I'm telling it because I think there are women watching. They're holding this whole thing together right now. And I want them to know they're not alone in that. When I arrived in my new area, I didn't rush to join clubs or fill my diary or make anything look fine. People probably expected to, and I have been asked a few times, have I joined a gym? Have I done this? Have I done that? And I haven't even joined a gym. I actually signed up to the body coach and I do his workouts in my kitchen most mornings. And I'm quite happy with that right now. And there's a number of reasons for that. I'd had a fall. My nervous system had been running on overdrive for a very long time, and I made a deliberate choice just to stop and to breathe, to let myself actually arrive somewhere instead of just keep moving. And I want to say something clearly. I don't think that I was doing this because I was weak. I think I was being smart. Because sometimes the most important thing you can do is give yourself permission to not be okay for a while and just to let the dust settle, to heal, not to perform recovery and pretend everything's all right. Excuse me, but to actually recover. And slowly, over these 7 months, and I can't believe I've been here 7 months, um, I've come to love where I live. New neighbours are now appearing. Life is just building itself quietly. But the social side, the real in person, someone to call kind of social life, that's still a work in progress. And I think that's worth being honest about. I need to say something important now because this isn't just about feelings. Research by Professor Julianne Holt Lundstad, I think that's what it is, found that loneliness is damaging to your health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day, which is quite incredible. It increases the risk of premature death by 26%. Social isolation increases the risk of dementia by 50%. And that scares me more than anything because my mum has early onset Alzheimer's, and that is not the route I want to go down. Did you know that the UK appointed a minister for loneliness in 2018? Don't know who it is, don't know what they do, but they did it because it had become a public health crisis. People are dying of loneliness, not metaphorically, actually, literally, physically. And retirement is one of the highest risk periods for it. Think about it. You lose the daily structure of work, the automatic contact with colleagues. If you've also lost a partner or moved away from your community or both, the isolation can creep in so gradually you don't notice it until it's already taken root. I know this, I think about it, and I think we need to say it out loud more often, not to frighten people, because naming a thing is often the first step to doing something about it. And I'm not a doctor, I'm not a health professional. Please speak to your GP if you're concerned about your own well-being. But I can share what I've read and what I know from my own experiences. One of the things that has genuinely helped me through this period is building a community online. The people I've connected with through this channel, through my Facebook group, through my content, some of the connections are very real. They matter to me. There's an honesty and generosity in those conversations that I genuinely value. But I'll be honest with you, it's not the same as someone sitting across the table from you or having companionship over a meal shared. It doesn't replace the kind of friendship that builds over all those shared experiences and time of being in the same room. I love my online community, and I also know I want more. I want the in person version too. And I think it's important to say that because I think a lot of people assume that being connected online means the loneliness problem is solved. It isn't, not fully. So, where does that leave me now? Well, 7 months in, wow, 7 months have passed. A new area that I've come to love. A house is starting to feel like home. Neighbours I'm gradually getting to know. An online community I'm genuinely grateful for, and a social life that I'm still building. And I'm doing that deliberately at my own pace without rushing or forcing it. I look forward to my days now. Um, when I first moved, I felt like I didn't have much to get up for, but now I do get out of bed and get going. I'm planting my garden. Um, I have all kinds of different things going on, but I haven't joined any clubs yet. But that is coming. but it will come when it feels right, not because I think I should or anyone else thinks I should. And it's amazing how many people have an opinion on this and don't hold back from sharing it. So if you're watching this and you recognize something in what I've said, if you're sitting in a quiet that's harder than you've expected, if you've moved somewhere new and the community that you assumed would appear hasn't quite arrived yet, or if you're just holding it together and wondering when you'll be able to stop, I want you to know I do see you. I see you and I feel you. And I want you to know that saying it out loud, even just to yourself, is the beginning of something. If you'd like to be part of a community of people who are navigating this honestly, my Facebook group is linked below. Come and say hello. The focus is affiliate marketing, but you never know where it may lead. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.